Phoenix Down Radio is on the air.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 133. I am your host, Klaus Nightbringer, and joining me we have a very different looking Tal Marvelous. What's going on, buddy?
Hey.
Yeah, Tal is now a bun-y girl. What? Am I wrong?
Did you know that if you try to give me physical attacks, it doesn't work? You have to hit me with magic. You can find me at onlyflans.evjulianne.
Take your upvote and go.
I was
also, hi, Sarah.
Hi.
We also have Sarah. Sarah, what's going on? Kind of got a medieval Jesse thing going on over there.
Yeah, this is completely coincidental. I just found a Dragoon look that I like. I like myself fully clothed and actually able to deal with getting hit by weapons.
Psh,
Weird, right?
totally, especially in a video game. Psh, come on.
I know. What was I thinking?
And we have a dirty dwarf. I mean, Chili. Chili is joining us this week. How's it going, buddy?
I'm not bad, thank you.
We're glad to have you
week.
on. We're glad to have you on.
At least someone is clothing themselves properly and not like a hussy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chili.
No worries. I don't want to take my helmet off. That'd be so dirty.
Exactly.
Look.
Showing your face and your hair to people who aren't part of your clan. Oof.
Yeah, so lewd.
Chili is a
dare they?
dwarf in real life now, too.
I'm slowly getting that beard. So
And
Nice.
yes, just because of the logistics of it, because this week, if you're joining us live at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio, we are in the midst of Extra Life Game Day. As you can see up in the corner of the screen, we are 12 and a half hours into a 24-hour stream.
Man, 1 week different, and it would have been like 25 again.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. I was like, hey, isn't Extra Life this weekend? Oh, it's next weekend. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't want to have it on Halloween, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Valid.
no,
And-
it would have been really bad this year in a way if it because this would have been people at watching it at FanFest.
Yeah,
right now.
this would have been we would have been podcasting from FanFest if
Yeah.
you know, a certain crown virus hadn't been going on.
Yeah.
Huh.
I miss visiting America. I wish I was there.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're just as bad off as we are, though.
Yeah, it's just all downhill from here.
Yeah, well,
That's all I'm saying.
though I suppose we can talk about it. This is also a very big week when it comes to real life world news. The U.S. just completed their presidential elections, and after a lot of vote counting, we do have a new president. So that's pretty cool.
Technically, he's a president-elect for another 2 months.
Yeah, it doesn't go to power
okay,
until January 20th, right?
We will have a new president.
Yes.
How's that?
Yes. Yes. But yeah, president-elect is the usual term. Also, everyone's been like just riding such an adrenaline high of feelings that we're all just kind of exhausted now.
It's been quite a week.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I am going to sleep so much after this.
Not me,
Yeah.
because I've got another 11 and a half hours to go.
Okay, but after that,
Well, then I'll just crash just out of pure exhaustion.
exactly, you're
Essentially.
going to sleep a lot too.
We'll see.
Exhausting pleasure.
We'll see. Anyway, getting back to the Extra Life thing, we kind of glazed over that whole thing. As of right now, we are currently at $570 of our $1,000 goal. So we're over halfway there. And as of today, we have raised 185 so far.
Nice.
Always nice to see the support for the children's hospitals.
Yep. So I want to throw shout outs to was it Lord Arlo, Nick Nar, and Aurori, and Kupo Mithril for their donations today. Really does help out a lot, and we do really appreciate it. It was kind of funny because this morning when I put in another donation, I just put in $25 because that's kind of the amount that I do, and it just happened to put us at $420.
Blaze it.
Lols.
It was just I laughed when I saw that. I'm like, oh my god, did I really just do that? But yeah,
Perfect amount.
yeah, we're $65 away then from being able to get that little light board. They just announced, I believe on Thursday, that if you raise $250 between Friday and the 6th and the 23rd of this month, you'll get a little light up like cinema board that you can put little
That's pretty
letters
cool.
on. And I want to get that and put it on there, so a permanent reminder that Nick Nar sucks.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Perfect.
No, definitely not. I don't know. We'll figure out something really cool to do with it. I think it'll be nice to have. But we did get our silver medal now, so we're at silver medal level. So, but if we can get that $1,000, we'll get another gold medal. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. And Sarah's shooting for that $1,500. So I have to sing the opening theme to Final Fantasy X too.
What can he do for you?
Help us raise $930. That's what you can do.
Exactly.
Is that the same goal you've had every year for a while now?
Yeah, since yeah, it was last year and this year, and I'll keep doing it until we hit it.
Come on, we gotta do it.
And
We
then we
can't
have to
hear you
come up
right
with
now,
something else.
as Nick Knight said.
No, not happening.
Oh man, I kind of want to get him to like do a recording with himself, like those ones where someone's recording several tracks overlaid on themselves, and have him sing like the Type 0 music or something.
I already did something like that when I did Maintenance Monday.
Yeah, but that isn't like awe-inspiring, making you cry at the horrors of war enough. So I guess we're not talking about Bostra quite yet.
Yeah.
No. Okay. But let's go ahead. We got a little bit more show news. We also gave away the 3 mounts from our contest that we had. Oh God, what was that? 3 years ago? I mean, it sure seems like it, but no.
Yeah.
Time doesn't mean anything anymore.
I mean, April was also like 6 months long. In
Like-
fairness.
You could say that our contest happened 2 weeks from now, and I would believe you.
That's kind of how time works right now, I guess, huh?
Or does it work?
But yeah, from our anniversary stream, we had said that if you send us your memories, and we'll read them, and we'll pick our favorites. Well, we got our favorites, and congratulations to I'm just gonna call you Shake because it's Master Shake backwards. You took home the Fat Cat. Kupul Mithril chose the SDS Fenrir, and then Hida-san got the red hair. So I'm glad you guys all enjoyed your new mounts, and we thank you so much for your support and for writing in, and we hope you guys continue to enjoy the show. So thank you very much. It was nice to read what you guys had to say.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you guys been up to? I guess we haven't really talked about that, other than we talked about, some real life stuff, and we talked about some extra life
I made a
stuff.
whole bunch of augmented Dragon Sung tools and a couple Sky Sung tools
Why would you do something silly like that?
because I'm gonna do the Armiger except with crafting tools.
You are the chosen
I-
one?
Like, I'm pretty sure I told you about this. There was a manifesto. The manifesto wasn't really required, but I did one anyways.
Sounds like you.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and silently mute him.
That's probably for the best. Who knows what weird shit I'm gonna say.
No, I mean, I guess
Sarah, I'm back. I got weird shit handled. You can go back to being you.
Hey, there's several varieties of weird shit.
That's valid.
You're valid.
with this year, Sarah is the new weird shit apparently, or Sarah's weird shit is the new normal.
Oh god, I hope not. That's like worrisome for the future. Also, that kind of feels like it means I'd have to find something even weirder. Like I'd have to start upping the ante. How's that gonna work?
I don't know, but that's a you problem. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
that's fair.
watch.
That's fair.
Anyway, so you did a bunch of crafting and gathering tools.
Yep. Also did a bit of Bozja, got a few levels on various things. My leveling at this point is really based around, okay, I want to get all the stuff that uses the same gear up a few levels so that I can permanently get rid of the old armor.
That's fair.
Oh man, I have like 200 open spaces between my inventory and my retainers.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's a
Yeah.
good feeling.
So good. Give me another week and I think I can clear another 50.
I think my monk is at 75. As soon as it hits 80, it can share gear with the samurai that's been at 80 forever and clear up a bunch of space too. That's my to-do list.
Nice.
Such a good feeling when that happens.
Yep, I just hit 80 on my Dark Knight here, and so that's my last tank to 80. They're all sharing gear now.
Nice.
Plus, I love the fact that you can assign a glamour to a specific job or gear set.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now all my tanks can have different looks while wearing the same gear.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's
doesn't-
really, really nice.
It doesn't play quite as nicely if you're changing jobs in a place where glamour plates can't be applied. But given the system we had, like, this is about the best we could have hoped for, and I'm still pretty
I
satisfied
mean, at least at
with
that
it.
point, the worst case is you're just going to have the wrong glamour.
Oh
Oh,
I
no.
mean, that's pretty.
I
bad.
want you to go back and listen to the sentence you just said, and then record it in order.
I did. We did just record it, so I'll go back and listen to it after the podcast.
There we go. I hope you'll understand the error of your ways soon enough.
And,
Anyways.
The
and
rest
then
of the podcast would just be him screaming.
Chili, what have you been up to?
I've been raiding on Aether with the She Heals I Tank raid group with Vegan Pete, and Arby's got into raiding again in the last few months. It's
From
been
what,
pretty good.
that's cool.
So,
From what I understand, you have a new guy too, don't you?
yeah,
from
we've
ano-
got
from
a
another
couple of new people
podcast.
right now. Oh, you're talking about Sound Bites, the snack-based sound podcast.
No,
with
no,
me and
no.
Flask.
Your raid group. Your raid group has
right.
a new person from another podcast.
It does? I don't know.
You ever listen to Wondrous Tales?
Oh yeah.
Pan.
Oh yeah, Panda.
Yeah, Pan is
Wow.
How you doing
Was that
there,
hard?
buddy?
See, I think because I can never remember Pan's name. I'm sorry because he's just joined. I've told anyone, I'm rubbish with names.
Mm-hmm.
So I only remember him and because his girlfriend joined our raid group as
Yep.
well. So it's Kitty and Panties. So
Wait, what?
look, his name is Panther, and his girlfriend's character is called Kitty. So I think of him as Panties because that's the only name I can think of.
Chip, if you're listening to this and you hear this, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No,
I
I've told
feel
him.
like I should just not touch this one any further.
Unless he really wants you to, then continue to touch it. But
I mean, that's a
Alright.
contested
We
question.
are 14
Yeah.
minutes into a show and already getting into After Dark. Excellent.
I mean, it's 2 a.m. here. It's technically
Oh
about to be after
my.
morning.
And I mean, West Coast, 6:44 p.m., and the sun has set fully and thoroughly. It is dark out.
Valid. Well, in
Yeah.
fairness, it also set like at 4 p.m.
Exactly. Phoenix Down
I mean, I
After
live in
Dark
England.
starts earlier and earlier. It's the only way we're going to get through this long, cold, hard winter. Very hard winter.
Ah.
God damn it!
Were you going for Careless Whisper and just like
No, I was going for
calmed
That's
the
what she
entire
said.
board? Jesus.
yeah.
Ah.
When that's what happens when you can never remember what. I need to label those things. I don't know.
I was going to say, if you'd like to donate to Phoenix Sound Radio so that Klaus can buy a label maker, let us know at Podcast Sound Radio.
Please.
We accept Amazon gift cards.
For an extra $20 donation, I will make all the labels slightly incorrect.
Wrong vowels. It's like misspell one word on each label.
Maybe swap a couple labels just for the fun of it.
Now, see, swapping them is boring. They just have to be wrong. Just to be an awful person.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of ground we could cover here.
Valid.
So anyway, yeah, been raiding.
Right.
I've been doing my Unreal trials every week,
Okay.
hoping that I can get the mount.
Well,
I want that mount.
at least somebody in this game has been, or has been actually playing the game.
And I've been doing Boja like a madman. So I'm ranked 15 and I've cleared Boja almost 12 times. The reason why I say
Nice.
almost is because the 12th time we ran out of time at 3% on the final boss.
Oh,
That's
So it
dicks.
so I still almost count that as a clear because we would have killed it if it wasn't for
Yeah.
a little bit of
Time
time.
out.
Yeah, I've been playing just a little bit. Hit rank 10 today in Boja, so I unlocked the Castrum. But like I said, I hit level 80. Started working on Black Mage again. I need to get Astro up. Astro's at 57, Black Mage is at 70, and that's the last 2 jobs I have to get to 80.
Dude.
Well, 70 to 71 takes no time at all. It's crazy how fast you can get. I think I did a MSQ, a trials, and something else, and I was basically I went to 71 already.
Yeah, I did
got
MSQ
Warrior.
and 3 Beastman dailies, and I'm
Yeah.
probably about 85% of
Yeah.
level 70 now.
Yeah.
It's fast. Like I said, it'll get up there. I'll use my MSQ. I just wanted to try and get my level 50 rotation down on Black Mage.
Yeah.
Being I didn't really get up to that the normal way.
look at how far you've come.
Yeah, by buying a book.
You know what? I'll take it at this point.
I mean,
And yes, I have the earring from Boja.
Ooh, nice.
not that we can
Cool.
see because you're wearing a giant bucket on your head.
Hey,
Not on
hey.
this character. And I'm not showing my face, but not on this character. No, on my other character.
Really, Klaus?
Yeah.
It
It
is.
already says my paladin is. She said their paladin's level 78.
Yep, Aurora's been working on her paladin, so that's awesome. And I know how
alright.
much she does not like tanking. She's only doing it so she can get the Amaro, I'm sure.
Ah,
Oh, as
the
am
things
I.
we do for our own Seto.
Exactly. I mean, don't you want to have your story like that too?
I mean, maybe not that
Well-
exact one. It would feel derivative.
but if you're tanking in Boja, especially if you're going into the Castrum, if you could get an item called the Bloodsucker. There's the normal Bloodsucker, and then there's the deep version, which is basically a high quality version. It's the higher level. I would suggest using that on you can only use it on tanks, and I would suggest using it because the normal one gives you 40%, and the high quality gives you 48% of all damage you deal. Recovers your HP by 40 and 48%. So.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
usually been going to tanks, so yeah, I kind of want one of those now.
And
Yeah,
the-
but using it as warrior, so it stacks with your healing attack already, so it's really good.
That would be awesome. That would be so much healing.
and that's one of those lost item thingies.
So, essence
Yeah.
of the Bloodsucker and deep essence of the Bloodsucker. Yeah,
Yeah.
those lost action things.
And they last until you leave or use another one. So
Very
Do you
similar.
happen to know what types of enemies one wants to, or what area one wants to farm them from?
I know the deep is from Castrum. I can't remember where the other one is from. I'm sorry.
All right, no worries. I'll look that up.
I'm sure a
just
Google
knowing
search
that,
will.
yeah, just
yield that
knowing
info.
about it is a big difference.
Exactly. All right. So if you guys don't mind, let's go ahead and jump into some game and community news.
Absolutely.
There was a big drop of Final Fantasy 16 information, at least in the form of a new website last week. Did you guys end up checking that site out?
Is that the 16 one?
Yep.
Looked
Yeah.
at it a bit and then was like, I'm speculating. Words. Oh God, I'm never going to get anything done again. Close website.
Mm-hmm. No, what was nice about it, initially they had said there wasn't going to be much more information given until next year. However, they decided to drop some lore bombs on us and give us some information about the world that they live in.
I can hear people spinning up their OCs already.
So apparently this is taking place in Valisthea, a land blessed in the light of the Mother Crystals. The land of Valisthea, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is studded with Mother Crystals, glittering mountains of crystal that tower over the realms around them, blessing them with aether. For generations, people have flocked to these beacons to take advantage of their blessing, using the aether to conjure magics that let them live lives of comfort and plenty. Great powers have grown up around each mother crystal, and an uneasy peace has long reigned between them. Yet now the peace falters as the spread of the blight threatens to destroy their dominions.
Got some interesting elements going on in there already, like having the mother crystals as centers of political city-states or just political states in general. One wonders if there's whether these differing nations, entities, whatever, whether they're in conflict, whether they enjoy friendly relations, tension. So it'll be interesting to see how they develop that.
Yeah, I mean,
We saw that in Final Fantasy IV as well. Like each kingdom had a crystal, and that was why Cecil was running around stealing them.
mhm.
But it's like they had
Well-
the really powerful kingdoms had them, and then the like smaller areas just sort of didn't.
Right.
You also had Fantasy 15/Versus 13, where I remember the plot was most of the towns were like powered by crystals, but there was only like one left, and that's the whole story of Versus 13 originally, was the fact
Yeah.
that it was the last crystal.
And then I want to say
Type 0
Crystal
also was very
Chronicles-
similar.
say again?
Type 0 was based off of that too. Each of the countries
Yeah.
had their own crystals and summons
And they
that
had
that powered them.
They had full-on military conflict on that.
Yes.
Crystal Chronicles also had the crystals as the centers of towns because they created the shields that kept the miasma at bay. And you,
Yeah.
in fact, at a couple points explored ruined towns that had once had crystals that had lost their power. So yeah, we're seeing some familiar themes here, though, as usual, it seems like they're exploring a different aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. But very interesting. And they end up talking about the icons and their dominance. Icons in Final Fantasy 16 are the most powerful and deadly creatures in Valisthea. Each resides within a dominant, a single man or woman who is blessed with the ability to call upon their dread power. In some nations, these dominants are treated as royalty in admiration of this strength. In others, they are bound in fear of it and forced to serve as weapons of war. Those who are born as dominants cannot escape their fate, however cruel it may be. So, I mean, that kind of reminds me of, very Naruto.
Yeah.
I was
trying to do the theme there, okay?
Yeah, I picked it up after. It was like, yeah, that's where I was going with it. It's like, okay, gotcha. Very much like the Jinchuriki, or the tailed beasts. In this case, it's summons, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
given that
technically
Yoshi,
those were still, they could be summoned in Naruto as well. Remember,
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
it's interesting given that Yoshi P is working as is it director or producer? I always mix them up.
Producer.
Producer.
He's the producer.
But given that, and that we're seeing some of the terms that we've seen before in FF14, though again with somewhat different interpretations on them.
Well, Icon came
Well,
from it was in other games too.
What was
Four?
that? 6.
6 was Esper's, and
Okay.
the original
Okay.
thing was Phantom Beast.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was ESP, or wasn't it actually? Or
Yeah.
Then it ended up being Esper.
Because Woolsey was doing the best he could with his character limitations. Phantom Beast was never going to fit into that box.
Gotcha. And then they talk about the different realms. I don't know if do we want to get into the depths, and we'll just go over what their names are. The Grand Duchy of Rosaria.
Which we've seen something like that in, I want to say, Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yes. It was tactics. There's a lot of duchies, but
Yeah.
it's just the idea of small groups gathering.
Yeah.
And specifically Rosaria, I think, or it might have been Rosalia, but there was a
Rosalia.
very similar name used.
Well, I mean, basically that would be the same name, I would think, for the most
I was gonna
part.
say I pretend R's and L's are the same for everything Final Fantasy because
I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't quite sure how appropriate it was to bring that up, but I guess it is not inappropriate to just bring up that this phoneme doesn't exist, and so romanization can be tricky.
Mhm. Let's just go ahead and read them because it does
Here,
actually play into it.
I want to do some reading then. I'm doing this.
Fine.
Long ago, a group of small independent provinces in western Valisthea found strength in unity and formed the Grand Duchy of Rosaria. After years of relative prosperity, the duchy now finds itself threatened by the spread of the Blight, a threat that, left unchecked, would doubtless usher the realm to ruin. Rosaria draws its ether from Drake's Breath, a mother crystal situated on a volcanic island off the coast. The dominant of the Phoenix, icon of fire, is enthroned as Archduke when they come of age. The fact that the mother crystals have names, and there is actually a theme to them, is also kind of interesting. We've got the Holy Empire of Sanbreque. I'm going to go with Sanbreque until we actually hear pronunciation. Sanbreque is the largest theocratic force in Valisthea. The Empire's holy capital, Oriflamme, is built around Drake's Head, the mother crystal that blesses the surrounding provinces with abundant ether. The people happily take advantage of this, living in comfort and security under the watchful gaze of the Holy Emperor, whom they worship as the living incarnation of the one true deity. The dominant of, and it looks like the word got clipped out here.
Yeah, it was a direct copy paste, so that's what's weird.
So there's actually, if you look, there's 2 of them have been blanked out, probably for storyline spoiler purposes.
Ooh,
That's
excellent.
That's a good point.
So, an as yet unknown dominant serves as the Empire's champion, taking to the field in times of war to rout its enemies. Then we have the Kingdom of Waloed. Waloed? Yeah, I'm going to go with Waloed. Waloed claims... Huh?
I wouldn't say wallowed.
Waloed.
Wallowed.
Yeah.
Who
Waloed.
knows?
Whatever it is, claims the entirety of Ash, the eastern half of Valisthea, as its dominion. The kingdom's control of the continent has oft been tested by the orcs and other beastmen who make their home there. But the current ruler of the realm, dominant of... has succeeded in quelling their rebellions. Using the power of the kingdom's mother crystal, Drake's Spine, this new king has built up a mighty army, with which he now seeks to test the borders of his neighbors. We know from the trailer that Phoenix seems to be a thing that would be on ours, so now we're seeing possibly a number of those ones, a Holy Empire, a more barbaric, wild savage one that spends a lot of his time fighting against the Beastmen. We've got the Dhalmekian Republic, made up of 5 states from which the members of its ruling parliament are drawn. Its mother crystal, Drake's Fang, is half hidden in the heart of a mountain range. The Republic's control over it and its ether, securing the obedience of the large part of southern Valisthea. The dominant of Titan, icon of Earth, is installed as a special advisor to Parliament and has a significant say in its decision-making. Having this one be, again, it's a parliament, you have it where the dominant is an advisor. This one seems a little civilized, which is a little unexpected given that Titan, again, usually you're going for like that whole savage earth, anger of the land kind of thing. So a little bit of an unexpected contrast there. We've got
And then we get to the Iron Kingdom, who treats things very differently.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking is Titan is in there in the corner, just landslides you out the arena when you do wrong.
It's like, all right, your time's up. Next speaker. Now, the Iron Kingdom is a small group of islands off the coast of Storm, the western half of Valisthea's twin realms. Here, the crystalline Orthodox, an extreme faith that worships crystals, reigns supreme. The Iron Kingdom controls Drake's Breath, the mother crystal that sits at the heart of one of their islands, long a source of contention with neighboring Rosaria. Isolated and aloof from the mainland nations, the Ironbloods speak their own language. Orthodox doctrine judges dominants to be unholy abominations, and any unlucky enough to be born on the islands are executed.
Wow.
So yeah, definitely seeing some potential sources of conflict there.
A few.
And then finally we are introduced to the Crystalline Dominion, sits at the heart of Valisthea, built around the tallest of all the mother crystals, Drake's Tail. Many bloody battles were fought for control of this small plot of land due to its strategic importance, till the warring realms finally agreed to an armistice. As part of the peace treaty, the islands around Drake's Tail became an autonomous dominion led by a council of representatives from the surrounding nations. Each realm enjoying equal claim to the Mother Crystal's blessing. No dominant makes their home there.
So it's kind of a what's the word I want here?
I mean, Juneau came to mind from FF11. It's just like, hey, here's this kind of like city that's not really part of any of the nations, kind of like a
No, kind of, but not really, because Juno had its own rulers.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of a thing. It was more of kind of a an, armistice is not the right word necessarily, but
I mean, they already used the word autonomous. So.
yeah, it's a treaty area.
That works.
So I guess in that armistice is kind of similar.
Juno was a neutral zone, wasn't it?
Yeah, Juno
Basically.
would be
Okay.
neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
So-
still had its own rulers. This one is led by a kind of a UN kind of thing.
So
Now,
here's one of the things that I noticed as we were going through these. There are only 5 mother crystals
That they've told us about.
that they've told us
Yeah.
about. Normally we get crystals in sets of 4.
There's 6 mentioned.
No, there aren't.
Let's see. We've got Drake's breath, Drake's head, Drake's spine, Drake's fang, Drake's breath, and Drake's tail. Wait, Drake's breath is mentioned twice.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Rosaria draws its aether from Drake's breath, a mother crystal situated on a volcanic island off the coast.
The
The Iron Kingdom controls Drake's breath, the mother crystal that sits at the heart of one of their islands, a long source of contention with neighboring Rosaria.
I had not picked up on that the first time through. That's
So I also wanted to look at the banners. Rosaria, that's definitely a phoenix. Sandbreak, I'm seeing Leviathans on the bottom half of the banner. I'm seeing an Ixion on the Kingdom of Walode.
Give me
And
just
then
a
I'm
second, pulling
seeing
these up.
crystals
yes,
with
the-
cool symbols on the Iron Kingdom, Crystalline Dominion, and Dalmekian Republics. So we're going to have very different kingdoms to explore. I'm stoked. This is going to be fun.
Ooh, politicking.
Yeah. If it's done right, it could be amazing storytelling.
Well, you know who's making it? The Heavens Ward team. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We'll have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a good game. I mean, if the graphics are to be believed, I mean, even they were shown in kind of a raw state. They weren't. They were basically. It was run off of a PC. What was seen in that trailer, and it looked pretty damn good. So I mean, just imagine with a little bit of polish what it's going to look like on next gen on a PS5.
I'm really happy that they're like, here's the game. It's not done yet. It's not perfect. As opposed to, here's this cool movie that we made.
Mhm.
And then a decade later, we get something that isn't even close to what we originally saw.
Mhm.
I
They
like
don't-
that they learned from that.
They don't make the same mistake twice, it feels like. I've said this before about other things, but it seems to be a running pattern.
I would say Square Enix has for a long time played the same cards. They've always given this beautifully polished trailer, and then what we see is something close to, but not quite.
I mean,
Looking at you, FF14
I mean-
1.0.
tra-
the thing is,
Like,
sorry.
get anyone in
Okay.
the industry talking about trailers and demos, and there is a lot of bitching to go around
Yeah.
about them.
Fair.
What's fair, what I like seeing is Yoshida flat out saying, we don't want to do that for this. Here's what we've got. We hope you enjoy it, and look forward to playing it.
One of his strengths has always been the ability to just like cut through the bullshit and talk openly about what the status of things are, why they can't do the thing that you would really like, and being able to speak directly and openly about that.
And that
Okay, so I'm going to clear this up a little bit.
Yeah.
When it comes to a lot of trailers, they will try and show you what they aim for, because that is what they're aiming for. But they might find that like yes, it might sound like they're not doing their work, but they might find out like 6 months into development that there's a certain bug or there's something that will stop them from doing something, which would then change other things, which means that's why sometimes the games won't look like target trailers. It's not like they're trying not to make them look like it, but there might just be something that happens along the way that causes the goal not to be reached,
No,
or in
you-
some cases, beaten.
you're
Some
absolutely
stuff
correct
like
on that.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is it's generally a completely separate team that creates the trailer versus what the development team.
Right.
Whereas here, where they're saying, hey guys, we know this isn't done. if you're still cool with it, here's still a trailer. And that's just Yoshida being incredibly upfront and honest, because they discovered by doing that, we're willing to let a lot more stuff slide. But if we don't get the information, we're just going to be like, okay, so what are you doing? Like, you're trying to talk us out of $60 for a game that we waited 10 years for.
The thing is, though, they're lucky that Yoshi P has that audience, because a lot of the times when it comes to games, if you show a really rough trailer, because 16 look rough in places for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
They will just attack it. While at least with Yoshi, he has that fan base to back him up. It's very hard for most companies to have that kind of influencer. Like, you've got Hideo Kojima, you've got Yoshi P. There's not many companies where people will be able to, like, they'll be able to show it off and people will be like, it looks a bit rubbish now, but we know it's going to be okay.
And that's because he put in the work to show that, hey, I'm a person who's going to be honest about it. Like, he spent the time developing that reputation, and now it's helping out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he is the rising star at Square Enix. That's why he is the the manager in charge of business unit 3.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. I'm not concerned that 16 is going to take 10 years like 15 did. I'm not concerned that we're going to see a complete mishmash of directors changing halfway through a production. It's probably going to
hit. It's probably going to hit its target of, well, they're saying 2021, but I still want to say early 2022 just to be fair.
I'm not saying. Yeah, 2021 seems awesome, but yeah, I'm super down. I would wait. Like,
I'm happy to throw in I'm happy to throw in a 6
Yeah.
months general pandemic and other bullshit extension.
Yeah, March 2022 sounds like a great time for me.
Yeah.
And you know, with Yoshida as the producer and Takai as director, I think that they are going to have a solid story. They are going to have a it's going to be well executed. They're going to keep the ship tight. It's going to be solid. I think I'm looking forward to it a lot. And the fact that we're not going to have to wait 10 years for a video game is going to be amazing.
And as always, I want to add the fact that I have no connection with Square Enix, because I teased a few things in this trailer that I heard about. So it became a running joke on Google Go Around streams that I'm somehow working for them. But I can confirm I do not work in any way, shape, or form with Square Enix. So
he just has a secret mole that feeds him information.
Not like a person. Like, there's a little marking on his skin that speaks to him in his dream.
Magic mole. No, I heard sources that it was originally going to be at the PS5 announcement. Yeah, when we had that big showcase for games.
Yep.
But it was going to be there, but because it's on PC and they wanted most of the games at that to be only shown on PS5, that's why it got delayed, and that's why I kind of guessed it would be around this time period for the trailer.
Well, I had assumed that it was going to be a TGS announcement anyway, but
yeah,
it was close to it. Anyway, definitely something to look forward to on my radar. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it too. There was one other little bit of news that popped up this week. Final Fantasy IV for iOS, Android, and PC got a patch update this week.
Huh.
Yeah. That was like a couple years ago when Diablo 2 got patched. We all went, wait, what? Like, why is this getting patched this late?
1 second here. I'm going to copy the URL and paste this. I got this bit of information off of toucharcade.com. Apparently this patch adds support for modern iOS and iPadOS screens, as well as ultra-wide support on PC.
Okay, that makes some amount of sense.
You know,
they're not doing like an item rebalance or anything ridiculous. But like the FF3 patch that came out last year, the game was played horizontally and it would rotate onto your screen. The problem is it only rotated one direction. So if you flipped your device over, your screen was just upside down. So you had to hold the device a certain way. And it was like, that's bad. So like there's a patch to fix that.
Also,
so like sometimes it's really small, but it's a big quality of life for the player.
Didn't it also fix the text boxes?
What was that?
Didn't it also fix the text boxes as well, overflowing?
A couple of the text boxes were busted. Like being somebody that's worked on text, I'm just like, when I see one that's wrong, I'm like, that happens. It's just not a big deal because there's just so many, and one's gonna break.
Yeah.
And if you can patch it, awesome. If you can't, that's a problem. But most of the time, you can patch stuff.
The other thing that this patch added is it gave the mobile versions on iOS and Android the full opening movie.
I
Got
didn't
some
notice that I didn't
morphine
have the
action
full-
going on here. Nice.
And then the game is currently on sale now on those three platforms: iOS, Android, and PC. It's
Mhm.
like $7 on iOS and Android, and it's half price on Steam. So if you want to play Final Fantasy IV on the go or pick it up on Steam, now's a great time to do it. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I mean, always, but we also have a discussion topic to get to at some point tonight.
I am just so emotionally and physically drained from everything that, like, you could say a thing and I'll just start rambling on about it, but I don't know that makes good podcast.
That's fair. I just want to know if it was something that you guys ended up catching that I missed.
Nope. Though now I've got like parodies of 2 different Crazy Ex-Girlfriend songs taking shape in my head, so maybe we should move along.
All right. So
I give good podcast. She give good podcast.
I'm just going to hit his mute button just for the rest
That's
of
for
the
the
show.
best.
Good deal.
All right. The biggest reason we have Chili on is I remember him talking about his first Final Fantasy when he was able to play the game. It was Final Fantasy
I was
VII.
gonna say
Was that not
my
correct?
entire country's first Final Fantasy, really.
Yeah.
Unless you count Mystic Quest, which,
Nobody
No.
counts
Yeah.
Mystic Quest.
Nah.
well, it also lost Final Fantasy in the title here, so it is literally just called Mystic Quest.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess
Yeah.
Final Fantasy wouldn't have meant anything to you.
Well, no, there was a licensing issue, if I'm rightly.
Huh.
Interesting. I mean, it's not the first time that would have happened to a video game series, but the fact that it took
was
until
always very. Sorry, carry on.
I was gonna say the fact that it took until 1997 for you guys to be able to get a Final Fantasy game in the country is kind of interesting.
I've been thinking about it recently, and as an adult, I've just realised what's actually wish I'd known as a kid because, as a kid, I'm an idiot, and even now, it had
What's changed?
it had to been. I've just realised it had to been just text issues. The games probably barely fit in the cartridges because of how big they were. So, being released in Europe, you would have so many different text languages that you wouldn't have been able to fit on those old cartridges.
Mm.
If they had to do localization, yeah.
You got to remember, if you release a game in Europe, it has to have all the different languages that are spoken in Europe in the game. It can't just be English. It has to have Spanish, French, German, Italian.
Is that legally required, or is that a thing where you're never going to get enough sales? Because either one would be an issue.
I think it's illegal. I think it's a legal requirement. I've
I
not
think
seen
it
a
is
game
too.
without it.
Because I know when I worked at NOA, it was like we had to do English. It was specifically British English. There were specific spellings. There was a list that we had to do. And then French,
Hello.
German, and Italian and Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would have been.
Yeah, other languages are great as well, but those are the basic ones you need.
I suppose. I mean, the other option around that would have been you'd have had to create cartridges or ROMs with each individual language,
Yeah.
which is also going to be
Yeah,
cost
no, that's
prohibitive.
going to be a huge nightmare.
So yeah.
Oh my god. Hi, yeah, we got our copies of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest in, but we only have English and German unless you've got a pre-order.
No, they sent all the copies ended up being Cyrillic. Sorry.
Just like the supply chain involved with several different oh god, that's a nightmare.
Yes. So because of that, and we just happened to somebody had said that they would have liked to see Chili on the show, and she was like, "Yeah, I would like that." So I was like, you know what? This is a great time to bring him in because this was his first Final Fantasy that he got to play.
Yeah.
Be a little nostalgic for him. We're continuing our dive into the Final Fantasy soundtracks with Final Fantasy VII. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
Oh, it's this one again.
Now this is PlayStation Audio that's creating this.
It's weird. Like we think of the PlayStation as the first of the like kind of modernish ones, but a lot of PS1 stuff just feels so dated right now.
It's really dated. It was just, hey, discs hold more than solid state. Okay, move to discs. But like a PlayStation 1 is not that much more advanced than like honestly a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
PS2,
really.
PS3 games have held up decently, but PS1, oof.
We got to remember the PS1 started off as just an add-on for the Super Nintendo until they got screwed over and then they decided to put a GPU in there.
Yep.
Yep.
Because I think it's the same CPU in there as the original add-on. It's just that they added a GPU.
That
Well,
can
do you
do
guys remember
3D.
The Sega Genesis had the CD add-on and the 32X. They
Sega
were like,
CD,
let's
yeah.
add stuff to the console. Well, that didn't work,
Yeah,
so
well-
we're just going to make a PlayStation and off we go.
Well, it
Hell,
wasn't necessarily an
Mega Drive had-
add-on, was it? It was actually an actual Super Nintendo console with a drive built into it.
Yeah.
And there are like 2 in existence in the world right now or something like that.
One was found in someone's attic.
And they were able to get it working, but there's no software that will play on it, so they're unable to really test it. It was quite a thing, but yeah, Nintendo PlayStation was almost a thing.
What could have been?
Nintendo
would've-
PlayStation
back-
not losing the Square Enix contract so that 7 came out on a Nintendo system, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
Be in the universe where Nintendo PlayStation exists and Xbox Dreamcast exists. Xbox, Microsoft, Sega. Sega. Because the original Xbox was actually designed to be backwards compatible with Dreamcast until they removed that feature.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I suppose Nintendo and Sega were the big boys. And they wanted to try and,
And
get
then
into
the
that,
great
that share.
realignment.
It was also due to the copyright issues with Dreamcast because it was so easy to copyright copy the discs with piracy. So
Hmm.
Microsoft dropped it because they were worried about that.
So yeah, that's what the Prelude sounded like, played from a PlayStation audio. I did some research on it, and I'm blanking on everything. The synthesizer.
So beautiful.
So-
It is still that good old classic Crystal theme. Like it's pretty like essentially unchanged.
Yeah.
Harp go up, harp go down. Harp go up, harp go down.
But then this.
Oh.
And that just sent chills down my spine.
Doesn't it? I'm getting goosebumps. It's just the ambience of it.
I am mentally back at my childhood home right now.
Oh.
Got a bit of an overture vibe to it.
I love it when it jumps into this part.
Yeah.
This is the bombing
'cause-
mission, the opening theme for Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, as this has all been going on, we have the pull out to the entire big city of Midgar and then zoom in on a train arriving at a depot.
Just
Merc's jumping out in a bit.
We don't even need to know he's a merc yet, just a guy with a sword.
well,
As he does a rad flip off the train.
I mean, you knew it was a Merc if you read the back of the box.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, we've got a little bit of in media res. We have arrived at the beginning of this bombing mission, as the track is called. People clearly made some kind of plan that we're putting together or enacting. We don't know all the details, but we do know, hey, we're blowing up a reactor. We're ostensibly some kind of terrorist here.
And we just received a new donation to Extra Life. I'm having a hard time reading the name on there. Josh?
Thank you, presumed Josh.
It's Shake.
Oh, Shake.
Thank you so much for your $25 donation to Extra Life. You are a hero to children today. Thank you so much. We have two different ways we're getting the notifications, so it's like I hear sometimes one will go before the other, then the other one will go before it. We're almost at $600, guys.
You fight through those dogs and those red soldiers.
Blink, 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 blink.
Swirling encounter screens and load times. I don't miss those.
No.
I mean, this was groundbreaking
Oh, it absolutely was.
yeah.
for the time. I mean, if we go back to Final Fantasy VI, those were all just, they're good MIDI, but it was very basic MIDI. They were able to step it up, and they had a lot more instruments available now. They had a lot more that they could do with it. They had so many more layers that they could put on top of one another. They didn't have to obfuscate things and build in the rain within the track for an area.
You can pick out what seemed to like recognizable instruments from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was
PS1 had a really good audio chip. In fact, it was so good that until about the 2000s, people were modifying PS1 to make them audio amplifiers because of how good the actual audio chip was inside the PS1.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be
Nice.
at the end of this. We're gonna be talking about one of the biggest things, because shortly after this was released on PlayStation, it was also released on the PC from Eidos, and the people say that the audio on the PC side was horrible in comparison to the PlayStation one. So
Yeah.
it was crazy, but the things that we were able to do with it's really nice. So we just got through the beginning, jumped off the train, and then we jump into a Mako reactor. Actually, it'd be a Mako reactor.
I'm never sure on the pronunciation.
Well, the remake tells us it's Mako,
Okay.
because the remake gave us actual voice dialogue.
Now, FF7 definitely had a bit more of the cyberpunk feel to it, and this one's got kind of that, hey, we're in this big imposing place, we've got this music almost oppressively looming over us. This is a very industrial space. This is a space that does not support life.
This is a place that is technically absorbing, stealing life.
Taking it and using it to run your light bulbs.
Stealing the life of the planet for your convenience.
Well, the way
Shinra
it
Corp.
sounds, you can kind of hear the pumps in a way, or the way the marching goes.
Yeah, that gives, in the context of where you are, it definitely has a little bit more of a mechanical, the machine's operating, pumping away the life of the planet.
It's very ominous. It's very foreboding.
This is a place you should not be.
Well, duh. You're a terrorist
Well, there's
infiltrating a secret government facility.
Technically, Shinra's not the government. Technically.
Technically. But-
Technically.
Yeah, the mayor of Midgard complains about this. Technically, the government is separate, but really, they're just a figurehead.
He's a
Meanwhile,
puppet.
their office is in the Shinra building.
But yeah, this plays throughout the Mako reactor as you run through there.
And that's pretty much every Mako reactor.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead
No
and
matter where,
go ahead.
no matter where in the world you are, and you find Mako reactors in a lot of different diverse environments, but inside each one you have that same oppressive feeling.
Yeah, this is in every one of the Mako reactors. Let's go ahead and we'll jump ahead to the next track, 'cause this one goes on for a little bit yet. This one is called Anxiety.
It's interesting that it's called that because I always heard not necessarily as anxious, but just like kind of sad, reflective. This is something that we often heard in places where there was like important memories, important things that had happened, but also like very sad one or ones that was like emotionally difficult.
Yeah. Well, one of the areas this plays in is the train graveyard.
So maybe not as much memories there, but still kind of this is a place that this is an unhappy place.
And this also plays in Nibelheim later on in the game. But I believe in the Japanese...
Oh, Matt, you've almost got a minor shifted version of the Crystal Prelude there, don't you?
A little bit.
It's like a kind of a sad version of it. I know that sounds weird, but it's like it's more.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, man.
meant to evoke those the anxious feelings.
There's a number of YouTube channels devoted to taking various songs and doing minor shifted versions of them. And just the same melody, but shifting to a minor key. It is amazing how sad or anxious or whatever they can become.
Yeah. Though now it changed quite a bit here. It's a little bit more. What's the feeling I want to give it here? It's
Hope.
It's not there yet. It does feel reflective.
yeah. Like you're looking back at a memory. Because now we get back into that tension feeling.
Yeah. Oh, this is already starting to weigh on me.
Do you have an anxious heart?
Apparently.
The Japanese on this, correct me on this, Talas, Fuan na kokoro?
Fuwa no kokoro. Yeah, kokoro it's like heart. It's the sound that a heart makes.
Yep.
It's the thump thump.
Yep. Anxious.
So yeah.
Anxious heart is the name in Japanese, I guess, then.
Like the heartbeat aspect there is kind of nice. It's like this sort of involuntary, like this sensation of your heart beating in your chest.
Well, I know that the
I like
train graveyard scene in the original game is very different from the remake.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there is still a little bit of that. If I remember correctly, I want to say there were a little bit of some supernatural things going on there.
There were some ghost type enemies in the original's train graveyard, I remember.
But it wasn't as deep as what they put in the. I'm assuming that this is what they wanted to do
Yeah.
originally.
Like it's a graveyard for trains, but I kind of like the whole thing of like it's a graveyard in the sense of like for an urban setting, so a graveyard for machines, but you still have this like kind of this association with death and the undead and spirits. Like I kind of like the theming they went for with that.
Yeah. But yeah, this song definitely has a lot of different levels that it goes through. And then we get back to that original tension. And then we get a theme for one of our main protagonists. This is Tifa's theme.
This one also feels like it's kind of reflective in memories, but a little more homey.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of this game, the themes around like these memories and these visions of the past and trying to make sense of them and define yourself through them.
Well, you got to remember, you know, Cloud and Tifa have a past. They grew up together.
Yeah.
So a lot of Tifa's theme is going to be based off of that childhood friendship. So there's going to be a lot of the reminiscing
I
on
always
that.
had some sad undertones with this, though. I always felt a little bit sad at the start.
Well, I would assume a lot of that is because as childhood friends, I wonder if Tifa didn't, kind of want more.
That
Maybe Cloud wanted more.
seemed kind of obvious from the get-go.
There was so much shipping of Tifa and Cloud, and now with the remake, the ship is Jessie for sure. But
Well, yeah.
Jesse's just
Well,
thirsty.
Jesse's best girl.
yeah,
Now, one thing also to note with that is that as we do learn through the plot of the game, Tifa has all these memories and all these things of Cloud, and then she's getting something where what she's being presented with, what she's told now, doesn't match up, and she's a little scared to try to confront that, to try to look at why there's a difference between what she remembers and what she's being told.
Plus, we all know that memories can be twisted, so she's probably second guessing herself a little bit on if she's remembering it right.
And if she is remembering it right, what's going to happen if she brings this up?
Yeah.
There's like a kind of uneasy equilibrium that she's very worried about what happens if she disturbs it.
Yeah. Well, we know there's something not quite right with Cloud. He doesn't seem like he's not confident.
And this is one that the American localization didn't do quite as good a job of conveying, unfortunately. There were some aspects of it that were lost.
But we've been able to learn over the past 20 some years what they initially meant.
With all the stuff that comes out, we now do have a clearer idea that, there is this conflict between this persona that Cloud's putting forward and then little hints that maybe something's not quite right here.
Yeah.
But what does it mean? Who knows?
Now we get some pretty music to listen to when we go into the seventh heaven.
Yeah, the seventh heaven is not going to be a place where anyone's like carousing and singing, drinking songs and whatnot, but it's a place where you can just like have a drink and unwind your feelings from the day.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to a very different sounding theme for a very different character, which I wish we had a minion of this guy. I mean, who doesn't want... I mean, when you first came across Barret, didn't you want a gun arm?
I mean, machine gun arm, late 90s, Japanese media. Yeah, absolutely.
I live in England, so no.
A knife arm.
Late 90s is when we were finally getting Japanese media under 18, because before then most stuff was banned.
And that's why they were hero turtles.
God.
But yeah, this
I have to, like, this is not the music that I would have associated with Barret.
no. I mean, it is a bit more authoritative, but it's not as bombastic as his character is.
It doesn't fit him, but it does fit his town.
It does fit his what?
His town. His original,
Yeah.
where he comes from.
Yeah, and I think once we, and this is one that again I felt like was handled a little bit better in the remake, getting a bit more of an image of him just as his father, as this person who comes from this, like this. We still see the drive to do stuff, but we also see a bit of where that drive comes from,
Yep.
and I feel like it makes a little more sense with that context.
Yeah, they did a lot better job with Marlene in the remake versus the original.
Oh.
But yeah, early on, it doesn't make as much sense. Some of the tracks are definitely ones that make sense a bit later on when you know a bit more.
Which I kind of like, if I'm honest. It's like, oh, now I know. Now I understand why that was done like it was.
Foreshadowing.
I have to be honest with you. When I was younger, I didn't pay as much attention to the soundtracks.
I knew the music, I just didn't know what was necessarily associated with whom.
Exactly. And now that I've had a chance to kind of appreciate it more and just go back on it, I have a lot higher appreciation for the work that went into the sound design for each of these pieces.
What's next on the docket?
All right, the next song we have. Hurry! Isoge!
You've got that kind of metronome going in the background, that ticking clock.
You're on, yeah, you need to be somewhere. You need to go somewhere. This plays in a number of areas.
We gotta jump on those roofs, Cloud.
There is very frequently a clock ticking down.
Yeah. This happens when escaping from Reno in the church, after you fall into it, and during the revisit of Sector 7 and the climb to the top of the plate.
The music I hated as a child.
You didn't like the rushed feel?
No, with the rush feel, with the whole push the barrels down to knock them off while you're hearing it.
Oh.
It's like a mixed feeling.
That little beep 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 does sound like a kind of electronic mechanical type thing, which fits in again with a lot of the kind of cyberpunkish settings that they used.
Yeah, it just sounds so good.
Oh my god, why is the soundtrack inducing so much anxiety?
Because it's doing its job.
It is.
I mean, and realistically, it's sad to say this, but you know that a soundtrack producer has really done their job when their music is inducing the feelings, but you're not really noticing the music.
There's a lot of stuff that, like, in a supporting role like that, where it's accomplishing its goal, but not being so obtrusive that you start paying direct attention to it.
When you get the feeling they want to induce on it, and you're not, like, then taken out of it, like, oh, that song, you know?
Yeah.
No, you know,
like, maybe after the fact you go back and listen to or look at it, but in that moment.
Because I do have to say there have been a few games in recent time when I've listened to it and the song does actually pull me out of the moment.
Ish.
I mean, it's a beautiful song, but
I don't like when games use actual, like, current or recently current pop music or whatever, because then it just feels really jarring and not in place. But stuff like this definitely, like, invokes that emotion and makes it feel like the music is designed for this specific space.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I will also make an exception for something like Grand Theft Auto when it's the music that's playing on a car radio and only while you're in a car.
Okay, like, I'm down for playing Crazy Taxi and, like, getting all of the Offspring songs. Like, that's fine. But, like, Final Fantasy, I'm like, I don't want to hear, like, fits in the tantrums in my Final Fantasy. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, I remember the first guy I dated, just hanging out, watching him play GTA Vice City and driving around the city listening to 1980s music, and it was kind of nice.
And you ran so far away.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Plus then listening to Laszlo.
Dude, that was one of the best written comedy pieces.
Wait, what game are we talking about again?
All right,
GTA
moving
3.
on to the next. That was for the joke.
I know.
Something's going on out there. Lurking in the darkness.
There's a mystery to be solved.
This plays at Plate Interior and several underground areas. So you're exploring something.
There's a little bit of like a kind of a jazz feel to it.
Yep.
Maybe it's just like the background What's that called?
Yeah.
The syncopated hi-hat.
Sure, that.
Like a smoky sound effect. Like a smoky.
That
This is the
guitar.
music that plays that you go into the restricted access area to discuss
Yeah.
secrets.
You're like crouched over while you sneak in.
Or you knock on the door and the little thing slides
Yeah.
open. What's the
Yes.
password?
Ah.
Oh
Like
man,
when I
Seventh
bought
Heaven.
Wild
Seventh Heaven is a
Rose.
speakeasy.
It reminds me of when I bought Chinese during the lockdown. They added like a little slit to the front. And it was at night that when I realized that it was like 10 o'clock, and I had to put the money through the slit, and they put the Chinese out for.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's like
I've been
10
delivering
o'clock and-
pizzas on a milk crate for the last 2 months. Like that's just how we have to do it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we just always put them on the front step or whatever they had available. So, but I understand where
Yeah.
you're doing too. I've had
Rain.
places, yeah.
We
Yeah,
just
it's
had to
like you
drive
have to sneak, you stand in front of the rain at night, dark at night, clips the money under the door.
sketchy AF chow mein delivery.
Put the money
God damn.
in the slits.
But yeah, this is again like going with kind of that cyberpunk feel, going around this big technological city, and then you have all the little back areas, all of the. Like you have Disneyland with this big facade, and then you have all the service tunnels and all the things that you need to make it function.
Yep. This is the seedy back areas.
Yep. These are the bits that need to exist so that bright glittering front can work the way that it is supposed to.
So these guys can run the scene. Now, if this doesn't sound like the theme for a big bad corporate entity,
Yeah, I don't know who thought this was a good song to use for marketing. How are we going to sell our product with this?
this is the Shinra theme.
How more evil can we make it sound?
Plays during cutscenes involving Shinra Electric Power Company. So any of the president scenes that we get, Heidegger, Hojo, all of those scenes, this is what's playing in the background.
I feel like there's some elements of this that also come up in other tracks.
Mm-hmm. But you know some shady shit's going down when you hear this. This is no ordinary, power company or utility.
Yeah, something's definitely going on.
Is it reactor music? I'm not, or Mako? Mako. I'm not sure.
I think a lot of it's like they're playing off of the whole cyberpunk slash that whole theme that we get, for within Midgar.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the songs have similar feels to them, but I don't know if they're completely
Yeah.
riffing off of one another.
I'd have to go back and forth and compare a bit. I wouldn't even say ripping off because it's being done by the same thing. It's more of like a, hey, you're using similar elements, leitmotifs, as we've discussed.
All right. Then we start to have fights.
Oh, we've been having fights for a bit, but
But this song you hear a lot in the game.
oh yeah.
Usually preceded by a and the breaking glass. When I was a kid, I thought that whole breaking glass thing was so cool.
Yeah, same.
But technically, I guess I really wasn't a kid. I was 18 at the time when this came out. When I was a younger man.
Tell us all about the onion tied to your belt, Klaus.
Which was a style at the time.
Oh man, that reference in and of itself is going to become a. Oh, and now I'm sad.
I love this part in the in the battle theme. Chili,
Oh, the
what did
whistle
you?
part.
Yes, and I don't know why, but I just like that they put that in there in the middle of the battle.
This is also just far enough into the battle that you're like, okay, we're on turn 2 or 3. You've gotten hit really fucking hard, or you're gonna have to start using more than regular attacks. So the music starts changing as your flow of the battle starts changing too.
Yeah.
Unless
We've
you play
discussed
like
this-
me.
We've discussed this before with some with other music pieces where it can be designed to kind of fit with lots of different things happening, but there's a general flow that you expect for battles. So yeah, that's a really nice aspect. That is a thoughtfully designed thing.
I've always
that's
been the
something
type of person that stays back and grinds as much as possible until I get bored and then move on to the next area.
And then you just smash through everything.
Yeah, last playthrough I got beta and Omni Slash on disc 1. So,
Good lord.
yeah, I got beta as soon as I got to the Midgar Solon.
Well, yeah, he's the one you can get it from. You usually just have to work pretty hard at getting it and not getting killed.
Yeah. I had to use it, not an exploit, but Aerith's ability to make everyone invincible for a few seconds with one of her limit breaks. I timed it just as he used beta so I could get the enemy skill and kill him.
Nice.
Chili is the kind of
Took a few
player who
tries.
gets level 99 and then goes up against the first boss.
Yeah, that's me.
Like, oh, I'm at the final boss and I'm only level 7 out of 100. I should probably figure out how this game works.
Yep.
Yeah. Spender,
Unless
Final
you're playing-
Fantasy 8, then you've
Yeah,
done it right.
exactly, exactly.
Spender will, has commented about and will frequently stop doing side quests just to let the final battle still have some drama to it.
And then once you're done with that battle, this was my favorite version of it for a very long time.
The kind
I
of
think it still is.
the ending different
Yeah.
is different, and I don't dislike it, but it definitely shows that it's different.
Yeah.
It fits the game itself versus the whole da 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 dun, da 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 da.
And I think it was after this that they started having, they'd have the same fanfare, but the music after would vary for
Yes,
the game.
absolutely.
Because this one is, like we were saying, kind of cyberpunk, and then like 9 is very medieval, and 6 is very magical, but also steel.
And then 8
And-
kind of 7 and 8 have similar feels but are different enough. They had different ones. 9 goes back to a more I believe it uses kind of a flute version of the
Yeah. If JC Staff animated a series about that was just Final Fantasy 8 in the early 2000s, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, that's the kind of feel that 8 has, so it needs its own little weird prelude too.
All right, and then we find this little church, or we fall into this little church.
Yeah. After we've gone establishing the cyberpunk setting, the crisis the planet faces, the huge corporate enemy, the eco-terrorism, we get a moment of respite.
Flowers Blooming in the Church is the name of this tune. And it plays in the Sector 5 Slums Church, as well as Aerith's house.
Those 6 notes that the do 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 do, that's very iconic for this particular track. Depending on who it is, you will hear people in the Final Fantasy TCG community use those 6 notes as they're doing an action, as opposed to actually doing it. there's an Aerith that costs 3, and when she enters play, you pick 3 wind backups and activate them. So you put 3 down and then put 3 up, and then Aerith shows up. So they will literally just hum or whistle those notes and just drop the card without doing anything else, because everybody knows that it's 3 down, 3 up, 6 notes. It just kind of turned into like a musical response to playing a card.
It's a musical meme.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, the song is pretty nice too.
Yeah. Like, we haven't gotten full-on Aerith's theme yet, but we're getting... These are places associated with her, and with her energy, for lack of a better word.
I like that. Energy's good.
Yeah,
Now,
her aura.
Speaking of energy, this song has a very different energy.
I'm not 100%, but that it does sound like a finger snap happening there, like someone being badass.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
The Turks are basically, you know, this game's version of the Yakuza. They are the badasses, you know.
I have always wondered where that name came from, the Turks. Does anyone know?
It's nobody's business but them. You handed it to me, dude. You knew I was
really
going
did.
to.
Take another upvote. Get out. Oh.
I love the Turks
I
theme,
teed
though.
that up for you. What the hell?
You just like, here's a silver platter there.
It's like,
Holy crap.
home run! But I mean, what's not to love about the Turks?
I mean, there is like the whole murder and whatnot. Like,
Google says that Turk is derived from helmet. Maybe that's something to do with it.
huh? I don't know.
None of them wear hats.
Turk as in helmet, as in protecting the thing that is controlling the body?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm
Mark,
thinking
mark,
like
mark,
maybe in a
mark.
more metaphorical sense.
I was gonna
Okay.
say that's getting
Yeah.
pretty far away though.
So they're kind of like armor in that case.
Yeah.
But Reno and Rude and Elena and Sang. I was getting there.
And we had some of the other ones in the other FF7 thing.
Yeah, in like some of the other games. All right. Then after the Turks, this title has always made me laugh. Under the Rotting Pizza. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Midgard is split up into... It's a circular town split up into 8 sectors. Each sector is a piece of the pie of pizza.
Yep. Barrett even describes it as a rotting pizza,
Yep.
or something similar at some point.
If it
Yep.
wasn't for that goddamn pizza, we could see the sky. I think
Yep.
was the line, or something similar.
And this plays in sectors 5 and 6 slums. So
And that's absolutely the kind of term you can imagine someone coming up with to talk about that big hulking thing up in the sky there. I mean, they even mentioned at one point how each of the sectors once had its own name, like towns or districts or whatever, but no one calls them that anymore. It's just sector whatever.
and
Like, the place may have once had a veneer of, like, hey, it's this nice community, technological, shiny, whatever, and it's been ripped off and no one knows or cares anymore.
A friend of mine came into Final Fantasy way later in life, and they had seen the anime series Code Geass first. So when they got to this section where the sectors were just gone by number, they had kind of a different response to it because they had seen 50 episodes of a show where Japan was called Area 11. And then this is their next piece of media that they consume, and they're like, holy crap, they hate themselves. I'm like, no, that's not... I get where you're coming from, but that's not what the goal is here. The fact that you just have 2 nickels is just weird. Like,
Yeah.
let's let this go for a second.
All right, let's go ahead and go to the next.
But yeah, it's just kind of music of the slums.
Speaking of different areas of the slums,
Wall Market, the fun place.
The Vegas of Midgar.
Too seedy for that.
The crappy part of Reno of Midgar.
There we go.
That might be too
The
hyper specific.
Black
Let's not
Hole
talk
of
about places I go.
The Blackpool of Midgar.
all right, this is called The Oppressed, and as it said, it plays in Wall Market. It also plays in Rocket Town.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Trying to think about commonalities between them. You've got like people who have
Two cities that have been kind of screwed over by Shinra in some way.
Yeah. And they're just kind of drifting from day to day, no necessarily real direction.
Well, wasn't there like an explosion in Wall Market? Or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. I know that there was a reason why it was left abandoned. And then it wasn't until Don Canero started actually rebuilding it that it became what it is. And then Rocket Town, of course, has the abandoned rocket, which
Right.
means the whole town got abandoned.
I mean,
So
not
they both have,
abandoned,
like-
but
Well, abandoned by
It-
Shinra.
yeah. Okay, yeah, in that sense. See, and just filled with people who had been part of this big goal and now just
They're like,
kind
"Meh."
of going from day to day.
Yeah. You kind of hear it in the song, in my opinion. It kind of is repetitive where they're going through the same motions over and over again.
Yeah, I can feel a little bit of just like who cares? Whatever, just let it go.
But it's also got the bup, 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 bup.
Pass the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a drink, buddy.
Because what else are you gonna do?
You'll go here.
They're not sad because they're so used to it now, but at the same time, they're just used to it by now.
What do you do next? You go to the Honeybee Inn.
Yes.
This was just such a weird sequence.
Yeah, I mean,
This was one where I really did appreciate the remix take on it a bit more.
absolutely. I had fun with Wall Market, Honeybee Inn, that entire thing in the original.
Yeah.
I appreciated it so much more in the remake.
You gotta remember that it was we're judging it by now, but for when it was done, it was pretty well done.
Oh,
For at the time.
like I said, I didn't find it cringy.
No.
I found it different. I'm like, why am I doing
Yeah.
this? Why are we doing squats with all these big guys? Why are we dressing me as a woman? You know, this was, like I said, 23 years ago.
That one
Oh,
was,
yeah.
that one was also a thing where some of the stuff was not necessarily localized well. Some of it was subcultures that were not necessarily well understood. It was kind of a mess.
But it was still fun.
Yeah.
Wow, Sarah, you jumped way up in the air. That was odd.
Look at
Dragoon?
you.
Nah, wrong window there, sorry.
But like I said, it was quite the story that was told, you know, with what you had to do to save Tifa from the Dawn,
With Aerith encouraging you the entire time.
because she just is.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
people who saw Aerith as like, oh, she's this incorruptible, pure maiden, yada yada. It's like, dude, did you see how excited she got at the idea of Cloud cross-dressing?
She's got a thing.
She was a bit of a scamp. Like, delightfully so, but the whole incorruptible, pure pureness thing always bugs me.
All right, and then the next song we have. Very different feeling from the Honeybee Inn.
Can actually start playing in the Honeybee Inn if certain things happen that send Cloud into a bit of a dissociative episode.
Which is why it's played here, because it's if you get to that point. But it plays not only in that part, but during any scene involving Genova or Sephiroth. It's called
Yeah.
Who Are You? Very Cheshire Cat-ish as well.
Yeah, Cloud has a lot of there's a lot of moments where you see him almost like talking to himself or talking to something in his head, like different aspects. It's unclear what's going on. But we do see that like Cloud has a couple different things sort of warring for, or not necessarily warring, but just urging him in different directions. And then we see him shake his head and declare what they're going to do. Never quite sure how he arrived at that conclusion.
Yeah, this song is definitely... Yeah, I would say this
Working
is
out the truth.
unsettling.
Working out the truth of Cloud's identity is a major overarching theme of the game.
Yeah. And it gets really deep in the later discs, but
Yeah.
next song, we meet a certain someone, a certain Dawn of the slums. This plays in Don Corneo's mansion.
There's a bit of a almost playfulness to it.
A creepy playfulness.
Yeah.
Come
The
play
Dawn
with us.
Ugh. The Dawn is someone who indulges his pleasures freely.
Oh yeah, he is definitely a pervert. His weekly weddings are definitely a clue on that.
But you can kind of hear the Wall Street music with like a kind of a fluty overtone, as in basically it sounded like the Don is like having people follow him into his, lair.
Right.
Fair Eyes in the chat saying it's kind of mischievous. Yeah, I can kind of see that too. The Don was a bit, like I said, he liked to play.
Oh, Dawn, you're such a scamp.
Tee-hee.
Tee-hee, tee-hee.
Sort of like a Pied Piper effect is what I hear in music.
Yeah, kind of. You kind of
Almost, yeah.
you got that fluty overtone
like-
there.
Leading rats to death
Yeah.
or leading lemmings.
I kind of like you've got this person, the Dawn of the slums filled with rats, and he's the piper whose tune they all dance to.
Ugh, wow. I thought I was going dark. That went actually better somehow. Good lord.
Wow.
By the way, guys, the Dawn sucks. Just throwing that out there.
No, he's not a
Yeah.
good guy.
But he rules.
I mean, not all the
those
time.
All right. Next, we have
It's that Shinra music, but
it's a little more sneaky.
Yeah.
This is infiltrating Shinra when we actually go into the Shinra headquarters. And we have to do it all sneaky like. Well, unless you go in the front door.
even if you go
Which
in
I
the front,
did.
even if you go in the front door, once you fight past the guards and get onto the upper floors.
I never
Oh,
understood.
by the way,
Go ahead, Chili.
a little secret that not many people know. You can go up the side, as you were talking about. You get to a certain point and then you teleport to the top.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back, you can actually start walking back down the stairs in areas that you couldn't get when you're going up, because it lets you go past the bits that you get teleported past. There's actually a weapon there that you can't get in the rest of the game unless you go back.
I think I
oh,
read
that's a
about
cool
that
secret.
when I played the game
Yeah.
initially.
Yeah, when you have like the re-invasion.
Yeah. No, the first one, if I'm rightly.
Huh.
That's pretty rad, actually.
Yeah.
But the one thing I never did get, I mean, even in the remake, is the fact that there's all these people in there, and you definitely look like you don't fit in. Yet nobody says anything.
I mean, there might be a room with like that we don't know about. Floor 72, cosplayer floor. Maybe
I
they
do
just think
remember
we'll go
if you-
to that floor.
If you take the elevators up, it does show a little cutscene when you arrive on the upper ones. That's showing you like on the security camera thing, and then shows out to show the security room with the guards not paying attention.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, I said maybe there's like a cosplayer floor that we don't know about.
Okay, I need to add cosplayer floor to my business plan because I want one of those. I don't know what it's for, and I'm gonna get a text from Pyrocats tomorrow when she checks our shared folder and just says, "What the hell is this?" But it's
The
gonna
other
be
thing I
great.
can think of, which is maybe a little justification after the fact, but if you remember, for instance, Crisis Core, where you had like Zack and other soldiers, first class, who were wandering around Shinra. So having people walking around with like a giant sword, maybe not that unusual.
but none of the soldiers have a gun on their arm.
Maybe it's a new
How's
Turk.
it- Yeah.
Okay, think about it this way. Think about it this way. Who is this random man that has a machine gun for an arm? I don't know. Do you want to go ask him who he is and why he's here?
More than
Also,
a few.
he's-
I do remember more than a few of the NPCs are like, "This guy's weird. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see anything."
Also, he's following the guy with the giant sword that looks like he's normally a soldier. So it could be that the guy has caught it, has brought him in. For all
Or
they
that
know.
or it's just someone he's working with.
Yeah. They've hired this guy because he's got some special skills.
Fair Eyes and Casual Fridays. Now we do Cosplay Friday here at Shinra.
You just happen to do your infiltration on Cosplay Friday. Lucky you.
Wow, that feels like a gimme almost. Holy
All right,
crap! Hang
next
on.
song. The boss fight theme. Definitely an upbeat
Yeah.
fighting theme
Now-
here.
Yeah.
I do love the naming on the Japanese one because the original battle theme is Tatakau Monotachi, which is, I believe, those who fight. And
Yeah.
then it is Sara ni Tatakatsu Monotachi, those who fight further.
Yes.
This is to go even further beyond.
Are they going plus ultra?
And we have the bit where after the initial things it's getting into, okay, you're a few turns in, special mechanics are starting to come out, you're starting to try to pull off fancy things.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's just so many levels in here. You've got that. But then you got the.
Well, even the music is kind of turn-based because it does sound like there's like, okay, this beat is you, and then it goes over to the boss beat,
Yep.
which is a bit louder and more fast-paced, and it goes back to you.
Yeah, there is a kind of back and forth dynamic
Yep.
to it. I can imagine like this bit being where you attack, and then this bit being their counterattack, and you dodge, and
Yeah.
building up to a crescendo. Good stuff.
All right. But it basically repeats on after this.
Yeah, got
It's
bit
a
of that.
battle
Yeah.
theme. It's gonna
Yeah.
keep going for a while.
But
Yeah.
then we meet
Got a bit
somebody.
of that like guitar, rock guitar in there.
Now this is a very different theme.
Yeah, we've just been introduced to a lab specimen who starts talking at us.
Who Hojo tried to mate with Aerith.
I don't think he really wanted to. Oh, Hojo did, yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell, Hojo? It
I don't
turns
think
out
Red wanted to.
it turns out that question, what the hell, Hojo, forms most of the backstory of FF7.
But yes, this is Red 13's theme.
Yeah, there's almost kind of a in this thing where we again had a lot of that cyberpunk type techno setting. You've got a bit of like shades of like Native American and like natural connection kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can kind of hear where he's been impressed by Shinra, where he's been caught and kept there and tested, but there's like this little hope that he still has to go back.
Yeah.
You can still hear his,
So
no
here,
matter how much he's been kept there, he's still got hope that he's going to get back home.
Yeah. And we'll hear a bit more of this when we actually get to the theme for his hometown.
Yep. It's still a nice theme.
Yeah.
He remembers it.
Yes. Then we have this one. If you've got the SDS Fenrir, you recognize this theme.
I just started involuntarily bouncing in my chair to the beat.
Me too. Swipe to the left. Swipe to the right.
All right, push him up against the wall.
Oh god, they're on the truck. They're on the truck.
Yeah, some people I knew in college had nicknames for all the different Final Fantasies, and FF7 was referred to as FF Minigame, just for the sheer number of mini games throughout it.
There
There are
are
so
a
many
lot.
good ones.
Yeah.
Like the Mog that wanted to have a family.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to fly so he could have a family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you're right there. But you didn't help him get... You just helped him fly, and then he took care of the rest.
Yeah. Well, it'd be weird if you were helping him do that.
A little bit, yeah. That's for like the Gold Saucers adults only section.
That's for Don Carnero's special version.
Oh no. So anyways, yes, this is The Chase, or the Japanese literally is Crazy Motorcycle.
Uh,
And it's actually Kureji Motosekuru.
Okay, yes.
I just love that. That's what it's how it's
Katakana.
right.
It's my favorite part of the game.
Kureji Motosekuru.
Kureji Motocycle.
And the fact that they did it as that katakana name, that they wanted it, like they were definitely going for a feel with that.
Like, what's the dumbest thing we can call this? How do we make it stupider? Sweet. Let's do it.
It's
I
still
spent a lot of time replaying this at the Gold Saucer.
like I said in 14 I will sometimes turn on mount music, get on the Fenrir, and just ride around with this.
Oh man. Clearly they need a mount action to let you swing your weapon to the left or the right when you're on the Fenrir.
As a Dark Knight, yes.
As any class.
yeah.
And then I get
Instead
and
of
then
giving
I
us
change
teddy
the
bears.
culinarian and never get off that motorcycle.
Oh god. Not gonna lie,
Wanna be
if
a
you
fisher.
revved up a bike and like drove up to somebody and smacked them in the back of the head with a skillet, I would pay to watch that.
That'd be amazing.
Can I do it with a fishing rod instead?
You'd break it in half.
No, it's
Magic.
just like high-speed troll fishing.
Where's
And it's not
Bannon?
like
I bet he could come up with a fishing rod that we could use.
like actual trolling, like the kind that the internet type was named for.
We'll go ask Gerald. He'll make us a magic relic fishing rod that is alive and be fine.
But he'll make you
And then
catch
next
400.
expansion, when we stop using it, we can just get a minion out of it.
Yeah.
He's gonna make you catch 400 carp though before you can get it.
Is that
He wants
all?
to catch 800 carp and make a million gil.
All right.
Is that all?
Just saying.
Final song of disc 1. Disc 1 basically takes us all the way through Midgar, and at this point, we are leaving. This is called Dear to the Heart. It plays on multiple occasions, again, most notably when the party first leaves Midgar, as well as some towns, and during some cutscenes involving the entire party.
You've got couple other leitmotifs that are going to show up in other themes later on here as well.
Mm-hmm. But this is a more happy, reminiscent kind of theme. A little bit lighter, especially compared to the music we've had previous. As Patrick Man X in the chat is reminding everybody, stay hydrated. Oh, that was a nice little jaunt through memory lane, wasn't it?
So yeah, somebody that doesn't like 7, I still freaking love the crap out of the soundtrack, and it was fun with the three of you going through the songs and remembering scenes from 7, remembering scenes from the remake, remembering what the game actually was and what our imagination brought it to.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like going through these, so we can bring back those feelings. Not so we can try and shill and whore out a whole bunch of money, to Square Enix music and that, but though if you do enjoy the music, I do strongly recommend going out and buying it. It is good. It is worth it. There is so much of it. As I am learning.
I mean, 3 discs for FF7.
4.
Was it 4? I thought it was 4 for 8.
There's 4 for 8 as well, but there are 4 for 7. There's 3 discs for the game, but 4 discs.
Okay.
For the soundtrack.
Yeah, I was thinking just in terms of like the discs for the game.
Nope. In this case, we're talking music. It was 4 discs.
Yeah.
There were 3
I
discs
don't know how many
for
discs.
6.
So I've got mine in my hand right now, but mine's in English, and I've got a duo pack with got the English and Japanese audio.
Mm-hmm.
I've kept it sealed though. I've never opened this. This is really important to me.
I picked it up used, and I got it specifically so I could get the tracks so we could listen to them. So
I bought this at a convention years ago. It was my first ever convention I went to, and they had this for sale. I'm like, well, that's a sign. So I bought it and kept it sealed.
okay.
Man, they could have made a perfectly good game just in Midgar.
They did.
Yeah.
It's called
Definitely
Final-
going
They did.
to.
It's called the FF7 remake.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But just in terms of like, it's a place like with a lot of character where there's a lot going on, where you're setting up this big conflict. Definitely the other locations that we go to fill out the world a bit, let us explore some other set pieces, but there's a lot going on there. And the
Absolutely.
fact that all of that stuff is the entire first disc, that's
Mhm.
a lot happening.
Yeah, and in the actual original game, it's not that long of a section. 10 hours?
If
It
that.
felt so much longer.
It did. It absolutely did. I mean, what I remember from playing Final Fantasy VII Remake is more what I thought I remembered playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time.
Yeah, I've definitely mentioned that a bit before, how there's the like, this is what my memories of it are.
That's when you know they remade a game well.
Yeah,
When they
they
can do
caught
that.
the feel.
They did. They absolutely did. I mean, the fact that it's
And then I caught some feels.
and then they do make a pill for that,
Oh, right, it's about that time.
Oh, very nice of you to gift a subscription to the Real Hot Chili Pepper there, Lord Ario.
Huh.
Oh, thank you for the gift sub.
Thank you so much for doing that. We appreciate that. Do a little sub hype here. We find the right button. Where are you, button? There you are. Sub hype. Thank you for the sub.
Huh. And we've got a couple notes here about the soundtrack
Oh,
and
yes.
the music.
I wanted to talk about this because back when I first ended up buying the Final Fantasy V soundtrack this summer, when I went to go pick it up from the seller, he'd asked me the question, why is the PlayStation version of the music so much better than the PC port?
We
And-
alluded to that a little bit earlier, but I
Yes.
didn't know that there was like a specific reason for it.
There absolutely is. I mean, because initially MP3s were a thing. They were very early back then, but they were a thing. They could have easily just made MP3s of the PlayStation versions. But what they decided to do instead, with the PS or the PC port of Final Fantasy VII, they decided to use the PC's MIDI playback system instead. So it's a different actual physical audio that's creating the sound for Final Fantasy VII PC version.
Huh.
So, but depending on how you set it up, because PCs have so many different components that they could have in them.
Yeah. I was going to say, one of the things that probably affects it much more than anything is the fact that back then, not every PC had a dedicated sound card inside it.
Or a very
So
good one.
they
Yeah.
would have had to made it a MIDI because it would have guaranteed more devices would have been able to play it, rather than make it an MP3. Like, because they knew the PlayStation 1 had it had the support for MP3, so they could focus on actually having it. While on PC, you weren't even sure if people had support for it. So
There were so
Yeah.
many.
Bad
If
to
they had
make
done
a-
it
They had to
If
do
they
it.
had done it a couple of years later, then there would have been much more MP3 support on PCs, but
What
that's life, I guess.
They had to go with what was
Yeah.
going to be the most widely supported. However, on the PC version, there were actually drivers for the Yamaha XG soft synth, which is will improve the quality of the MIDI audio that you get on the PC version.
Mm.
And
So you
again,
could actually have the PC version start approaching the PlayStation version if you had a sound card and put a little bit of that extra work into
yeah,
it.
but if you use the standard one
Yeah.
that came with Windows 95, it would have been at that time, maybe
Oh
98.
God, was it that?
I want to say 98 may have just was it about a year after that this came out from the PlayStation? Because this was 97 on PlayStation, so it would have been 98.
I think it was like a year later.
I want to say I played this on a Windows 98 computer. Yes,
I was gonna say like late Windows 98, like
I was
early,
gonna say, when
early Windows 98, because it was
look at
actually
XP.
actual
Wasn't it be close
98.
to Vista?
No, it was actual 98. I remember because when I got this game, I was working overnights at HTI, and
Here
that
we
would
are.
have been 98 and 99.
The Windows release was June 25th, 1998.
And Windows 98 came out in August, I think.
The Japanese Windows release was in 2013.
wow, that sounds right.
It sounds like the dates when we used to get them. UK.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's what we were able to dig in on that. So if you're out there, I forgot the guy's name. I apologize. Person who sold me Final Fantasy V. That's why.
Oh wow! Sorry, it's the same day. I'm looking online, and June 25th, 1998 is the general consented release of Windows 98.
Okay, so it came out the same day of Windows 98, huh?
Yeah.
It was a launch title.
It started manufacturing in May, but the average
The actual
Yeah.
the release date. Yeah,
the
it
official
was
release is
August was 95.
Yeah.
And then
the official release was the same day.
yep, and then
So Fantasy 7 was your launch title for your Windows 98.
I want to say then I got that computer probably late 98, early 99. So yeah, that checks out.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, but yeah,
That's
so
so magical.
I mean that is how I played Final Fantasy 7 was on PC.
I played it on PS1.
See, I never had a PlayStation.
PCs were so expensive here that we couldn't afford it.
Oh, yeah, I paid $2,000 for that PC.
Yeah.
but I was working full time and I was, I wanted a new computer, so I bought it. I
So
saved up.
$2,000 in 1998 dollars was a lot.
Yeah, but I was
Okay.
also living at home. I was making pretty good money.
Fair.
Didn't have much for bills, so yeah, it didn't take me very long to get that PC saved up and paid
Two-
for.
$2,000 in 1998 would be about $3,200 now.
That's gonna be like a PC with a 29 or like some 3090s in it.
That was 1997 was 22 years ago, right?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
23.
23. Yep. Final
I
Fantasy
was
7.
10.
Final Fantasy 7 is 23 years old.
Oh my
I was
god,
10
it can
years
almost
old.
rent a car.
How old is it?
23?
23.
You
You can
generally have to
already
be-
rent a car
Yeah,
here.
you have to be 25 in the US.
Some weird
Oh, wow.
insurance thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
Alex-
weird thing here where you can buy alcohol to here technically at 18, but they actually question you if you look under 30.
Right. Now the question is it going to rent that little three-wheeled truck that with from the motorcycle chase?
Yes. Clearly. I'm so
Oh.
happy that was in
And
the
has
remake.
13 and Aerith riding in the back.
So yeah, we have
I'm so happy they keep that.
next week we are going to go through disc 2. And then we'll probably get back on our normal every 2 weeks. So I'm thinking about this. Do we want to wait 2 weeks? Sorry, a little bit
I
of
have no bloody idea right
a little
now.
on the air.
Bruh. Doesn't matter.
The reason I'm asking is in 3 weeks is Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanksgiving's going to be a little weird this year, but yeah.
So I'm thinking if we maybe just do every 2 weeks for a couple weeks and then get back into regular.
Keep an eye on the Phoenix Down Radio website. We're going to figure out what
We'll
we're
let
doing
you
for our
guys know,
schedule.
but I want to at least get it mentioned. So
Yeah, we may have some slight schedule shifts for the holidays. We'll keep you posted.
exactly, this time of year always kind of screws things up.
Most wonderful time.
So anything else you guys want to talk about?
Like bullshit.
Beginning.
Other non-Final Fantasy stuff, so like no big deal here. But I'm happy to be back on the show after being gone for a stupid amount of time.
I mean, I've been gone for a stupid amount of time as well, so
It's
a
true.
stupid amount gone episode.
Well, just the fact that we missed a week is kind of a stupid amount of time.
Yeah, but like that was also just Halloween is weird, y'all.
This
Yeah.
time of year is weird. This
Mhm.
year
This year
is weird. So we appreciate you guys sticking with us. All 12 of you watching right now on twitch.tv/PhoenixDown Radio. We really do appreciate you joining us live, and we hope you guys can continue to join us. If you're listening out on the podcast, we urge you to come check us out sometime live. We do this generally every other Saturday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. You can always go to the date and time of the next podcast is generally listed right below the stream, so you'll be able to find out when and where we go live. But I guess that's gonna do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please make sure. That's why we don't have you on anymore, Chili. If you like what you heard, please consider subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We're on Amazon Music now. We're whatever podcast service you listen to, we're probably there. And if possible, give us a rating and review. It really helps people to find our podcasts, as well as let us know what you guys think. If you really dig the show, you can consider subscribing here at switch.tv. Did I say Switch or Twitch?
You said Switch.
Okay.
You said Switch.
And like two different answers there. So consider subscribing here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDown Radio, where you'll get access to a number of subscriber only badges and emotes. And it helps us as well. Or you could go out to patreon.com/PhoenixDown Radio, like our benevolent overlord Rory Fenrir, and support us that way as well. All proceeds go towards growing the show, cover hosting costs, let's do some giveaways, and just have some fun with you guys, all right? Lets me get
We
cams.
just finished our own giveaway.
Like I said, we just finished ours too, so but it helps us to get cams for Talas and Sarah, even though we didn't use them this week because somebody really didn't want to be on camera.
Yeah, I don't want to be on camera.
I can't fault him that much.
Yeah, he doesn't want to break his camera that he just got. Just kidding.
Hey, don't be mean.
I'm teasing him because it's what he's thinking.
He teases himself that way too, and I have to tell him not to do that too.
Well, that's why I'm doing it for him, so he doesn't have to.
No, positive vibes.
He knows I love him. I actually wanted him to be on camera because I miss that little face.
Next FanFest, maybe.
What?
Yay.
So 2047?
Yay. 2077 is the same year as Cyberpunk.
Yeah, the same year
Oh,
Cyberpunk is
no.
released. So yeah, let's do those kinds of fun things. But any kind of support, whether it's emails, likes, tweets and retweets, follows, subs, or donations, they're always greatly appreciated because we just love interacting with you guys. If you want to find the entire backlog of our podcasts, you can go out to our website, phoenixdownradio.com. If you have questions, want to ask us, or suggest something for the show, you can email us, podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. And if you want to interact with us on Twitter, we are at PHXDNRadio. So, Chili, since you are a guest, if you have any shout outs.
Slow down.
Yes, we want to be able to understand them. Thank you, Sarah.
Fine. I would like to shout out to Shields I Tank and Maelstrom Radio. We're actually doing a collab stream with Maelstrom Radio on every second Sunday and every Wednesday where I am playing through Borderlands 2 with them. I'd like to shout out to everyone that's here, Klaus, Talis, and Sarah. Thank you so much. It's always good to be on. It's always good to chat with you. It's been way too long. I'd also like to shout out to my own Twitch channel, Moogle Go Round Radio, where we just had an episode with a Fantasy 14 speedrunner called Dragon Kick, where we celebrated reaching 500 followers over on that channel. So we've had a good year. We started the year at 200. We just hit 500. So it's been a rough year. Big shout out to, of course, everyone that's been a guest on this year as well. So,
And how can people find you?
you can contact me at MG_Chili on Twitter.
Very nice. Sarah?
I want to give a shout out to Sleep. I miss you, baby. I'm coming home.
He's lying. He's not doing it.
I'm working on it. We're seeing a counselor. Like it's going slowly, but I'm committed. It's been a lot. Shout out to everyone who's doing their best to not let everything overwhelm them. You're doing enough, and I love you, and I care about you. And we can, all meet up and hug and ugly cry at some point. Wow, that got darker than I expected to.
Yeah, it got
Tired,
weird,
guy.
man. You okay?
I'm tired.
We
We're
love
all-
you,
It's been
Sarah.
a lot.
We're almost done.
Yeah. But shout out to the folks who come here and listen to us talk about the games we love. We do it either way, but it's nicer to have people who want to hear us. So love having you here. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
You can find me on Twitter at FF14Sayer. That's FFXIVSEYRR, where I every so often post pictures of random food that I made or stuff that I found working at the library.
Awesome.
Also on our Discord, which I tend to have open most of the day, especially working from home, and where I am always up for a distracting conversation.
Dallas?
All right, so shout outs to Klaus for mailing me awesome stickers because they are super cool, and I was able to trade those stickers for a car. Yes, really. And shout outs to my CFO and my web designer and my fundraising manager and all of the awesome people that I have had the incredible opportunity to hire over the last couple of weeks. You guys have made everything way, way, way easier on me. So bless and thank all of you. Shout outs to Alex and Alan from KupoCon. Palmline 3 was this morning and was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for making the Final Fantasy community come together in this time of absolute chaos, and we had a great time. So thank you both for that.
And how can they find you?
They can't, because social media is an absolute trash fire that I tend to avoid at all costs. But if you really, really, really want to, you can find me on Instagram at Marvelous Tofu, where I post something every couple of months to remember how to use the app. But you can also DM me there, which is helpful. Or if you really, really, really want to get a hold of me, you can actually find me on the Discord for Phoenix Down Radio, or you can email us at podcasts@phoenixdownradio.com, and maybe Klaus will forward me the email at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I still have to create talas at phoenixdownradio.com, don't I?
At some point.
We can get that to forward to you as well.
Wait.
And I want to shout out Chili for joining us. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate that. Shout out to Talas and Sarah. Thank you so much for your understanding on having to postpone.
What's a schedule?
Right?
It's a thing other people have.
Ooh, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
And I want to give special shout outs to Master Shake, Aurori, Kupo Mithril, Nick Nar, and Lord Ario for donating today to our Extra Life campaign. I really appreciate. The kids really appreciate that. We are doing amazing right now. We are currently at $595 of our $1,000 goal.
Nice, moving along.
We are climbing higher and higher. We are going to be continuing to take donations through the end of the year, but we still have a little over 9 hours and 20 minutes left to go or so. If my my time looks right, we're at 14 hours and 38-ish minutes according to the clock, 37:40. So yeah, we're gonna keep on raising funds. We want to hit that $1,000 goal. We got stretch goals, of course. If we hit $1,500, I will do some really embarrassing things on stream with Final Fantasy X-2 stuff. Sarah wants you all to donate.
Do it. It's actually a really solid game.
No,
It is a
it's
good
not.
game.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it really is.
No, it isn't. It's horrible. It's terrible.
We can have this argument another time.
I would rather
Yeah.
play Type 0.
Oh, we
I
should
can't
play
play
that too.
Type 0.
I don't like either
That's
one
the
of
one
them.
that taught me to fear summoners.
And if you want to follow me on social media, I am at PHXDN_KLAUSS. Otherwise, for my co-hosts, Sarah Timono, for Talas Marvelous, for our guest, the incomparable Chili, I'm Klaus Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. I want to thank you all for joining us live today, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care.